Have you ever wanted to build and design your own city from the ground up with low stakes and complete freedom? This is exactly what Town to City offers, and this game is finally releasing into its 1.0 version on Steam sometime today. If you're interested in this game, this video will help you decide if the game is for you or not. All footage and information here were gathered during the game's early access, but I will mention what will be added to the full release too. Town to City is a cozy city builder with a unique and beautiful voxel art style where you start with just a train station and an empty plot of land. You can play in story mode or in sandbox mode, and we'll first talk about the story mode. Your first task is to place 3 houses for your first residents and build food stalls for them. For each shop, you will need to assign workers from your adult villagers. The shops also need to be connected to a warehouse, which also needs workers. The range that can be accommodated by your shops will be determined by the amount of workers you assign to it and its distance from the houses. Don't worry if this sounds complicated because the game will easily let you know if a shop needs more workers or if you assigned too many workers already. Moreover, you can quickly adjust the amount of workers right away. All of your buildings need to be connected by roads that you can freely draw yourself using a brush tool. There are different styles of roads to choose from. You can use a circle or a square brush in different sizes. Then there's also a tool that will keep your road straight if that's what you prefer. I really enjoy using the free build mode for this since it allows me to build winding paths and it makes my city feel less rigid. You need money to construct new buildings and add items to your town, and you earn money passively from the citizens' taxes and each household connection to a shop. You don't really have to worry about this too much. If you ever find yourself not having enough money, you can simply make the time go faster to earn more by clicking here. Personally, I've always found something else to do whenever I'm waiting for more money to buy a certain building, and it's never been a problem for me. You'll eventually build a research center that earns research points that will unlock more game features like more buildings, structure upgrades, and new decorations. Your main objective for the campaign in story mode is to upgrade your city by attracting new residents and keeping those residents happy. New residents arrive periodically based on the overall happiness of your town. The happier your town is, the faster the new residents will arrive. However, if the average town happiness is below 60%, there would be no new arrivals at all. There are several factors to keep your residents happy. The first one is the household connection to the residents' needs. At first, your residents will only have basic needs like food and apparel, so you'll need to make sure each house has access to nearby food and clothing shops to keep them happy. However, as your town upgrades, your residents will start needing more amenities. Eventually, you'll also need to provide things related to leisure, houseware, and public services. The more of these needs a household has access to, the happier the residents will be and the more money that household will generate for your town. Then there are some households with specific requirements. Some families prefer to be around trees, some prefer to be near the food shops or restaurants, some would want to be near a lake, and some might need to be far from other neighbors. You have to fulfill these requirements for them or their overall household happiness will decrease. Lastly, the happiness of the residents will also increase as you place more decorations on their houses and their workplaces. Decoration is a huge part of this game. The structures are inspired by the 19th century Mediterranean architecture, and the houses come in different colors that you can assign or randomize. Then there are a lot of different items to unlock from the research center. Some items also have different colors and variations that you can choose from. One of the things that surprised me was how you can actually put decorations on houses and even the shops. The flower planters can be placed under the windows or hanged from the wall. Umbrellas can be turned into a window canopy. Some small trees turn into vines, and more. There are a lot of these items, and you can see it under the building decorations filter on your decorations category. Adding personalities to the individual houses and shops make the families just feel more alive, and I really enjoyed this part of the game. As we discussed earlier, building roads using the brush tool is also easy and offers a lot of freedom, and the same is true when you are adding fences. You can simply click on a spot to mark the start of the fence, then click on another spot to mark its end. You can click on multiple spots as well to make your fence follow curved areas like around this lake, for example. Eventually, you'll unlock terraforming, which lets you raise or flatten terrain and add or remove water, giving you even more freedom when designing your town layout. If you ever want to rearrange your layout, you can simply move the buildings and houses easily. They also put an undo function by pressing Ctrl plus Z, and you can copy and paste whole houses with all its decorations by using Ctrl plus C. There's even a photo mode with some filters and settings that will help you capture the town you've built. Then there's a walk mode where you can see through the perspective of your citizens and look at how their homes and town appear for them. There is a lot of space for creativity with all of the customization options, and if you're ever at a loss on what to build, the villagers will send a request to you, the mayor. And these requests can inspire you to build little areas in your city, like a park away from houses and work, graveyards, or a unique theme for a certain house. You can also look at some screenshots shared by the community on Steam for inspiration. It is nice to see how everyone has a different take for their towns. Just look at some of these wonderful creations posted on Steam. As you build and expand your town, you will eventually unlock other classes of citizens in your town, the artisan and the bourgeoisie. There are some shops that can only hire artisan class citizens, there are some that can only hire your regular citizens, then there are some that can hire both. Meanwhile, the bourgeoisie will not work at all. This will add another depth to your city management since you have to make sure you have enough workers for the buildings that you place around your town. The higher class citizens also have another requirement to be happy. They need to be around luxury buildings and shops, so you have to make sure that these citizens have access to those. Then there are some shops that will need crops in order to start production, like the bakery and the pub. The crops needed for this will not be supplied by the warehouse. You would have to assign farmers to plant and harvest these crops, and this is where the second map in the campaign comes in. In the second map, you will be able to build farmhouses and assign farmers that will supply the crops to the shops, and for this map, you would have to start with just a train station and an empty plot again. Some of the research you've unlocked from your research tree are retained, but for the most part, you would have to unlock it again using the research points you earned from this map. There's another tab in the research menu here, which uses farm points instead of research points. You earn farm points by growing crops, and the points you accumulate will unlock more variety of crops and new shops or buildings. Instead of a warehouse, you need to connect the farmhouses to a granary for the transportation of goods. As you reach the highest tier in your farm research menu, you will unlock global farming, which will allow you to access the farms and the farm research menu in all your maps. This means that you can start placing farmers on your first map too. The crops grown by your farmers from the second map can also supply the shops from the first map. You really need some of these shops in order to keep your higher class residents happy and upgrade your town even more. As I played the game, I kept thinking that this is probably similar to how real cities and towns were built too. At first, I was very attentive to my residents' individual needs and tried my best to keep everyone happy. However, as the town grew larger, I started focusing more on economic growth instead. I began placing families in random houses even if it wasn't their preference. I placed families who wanted solitude right in the middle of my row houses, ignored some of their requests to the mayor, and mostly focused on completing objectives so I could level up faster. It was actually pretty easy to keep citizens above 60% happiness just by spamming decorations, so progressing through the campaign was quite easy. But at the same time, I started feeling the urge to start a new save file with a better balance between caring for my citizens and expanding the town efficiently. I also underestimated how much space I needed between buildings, and because of that, some families didn't have access to all of their needs. That's something I definitely want to improve on my new playthrough. It really made me realize how important good city planning is. Then there's the matter of the shops. The bourgeoisie class refused to work entirely, so I had to carefully balance workers between the artisan class and the regular citizens. Sometimes I even had to remove regular workers from certain shops just to prioritize artisan workers because there were other jobs the artisan class refused to do. These decisions are easy enough to make in a game, but obviously things aren't nearly as simple in real life. So far, I've spent around 10 hours in the game and completed about 60% of the campaign. During that time, I mostly focused on progressing through the campaign, although I did spend some time rearranging my town and decorating as well. Because of that, I can definitely imagine some players finishing the campaign much faster than I did. There's already plenty to do in story mode, but there's the other game mode I mentioned earlier. In Sandbox Mode, there are no conditions or restrictions, allowing players to freely build with all buildings and decorations unlocked. We can choose to start from 8 different maps, each with its own unique terrain. Then we can also specify the game rules, such as the no money mode, unlocking everything, always 100% happiness, disabling construction time, and disabling special building limits. We can also adjust the build cost, upkeep, income, worker productivity, and other multipliers as needed. In the game's full release, we'll be able to experience a brand new map, and I'm really curious about what new mechanics it will add and how it will connect to the first and second maps. Of course, there will also be new buildings and quests, and we'll apparently be able to plan tourist routes as well, which sounds like it could become another source of income for the town. I would also love to see more optimization improvements because the game starts to stutter on my PC as my town expands and becomes busier. I was able to minimize this a bit by adjusting my settings though. Overall, Town to City is a beautiful, cozy city builder, and I think it's perfect for players who enjoy the idea of a grid-free city builder with a lot of freedom, a wonderful voxel art style, and the ability to decorate even the smallest details. For me personally, the real charm of the game comes from being able to slow down, decorate, and sometimes simply walk around the town I'm building. I also think the game has really high replayability for people like me who enjoy creating different kinds of layouts, scenes, and city designs. I already want to continue my new save file just to see how differently I can build now that I understand the game better. However, if you mainly enjoy following objectives and progressing through the campaign more than decorating or city design, the game might feel a little too easy and short for your liking. I also don't think you'll enjoy it as much if you're looking for a very challenging city builder with disasters like tornadoes or plagues, for example. And if you tend to get overwhelmed by having too many layout and planning decisions to make, this game might also feel a bit stressful at times. There's currently a demo available on Steam if you're still undecided, and if you do plan on getting the game, make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on because I'll also be sharing some beginner tips and tricks to help you get started.